Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with Monday Special. Now, before we continue with our discussion with our panelists, let's first listen to the advice of successful innovators who were struggling about 2 years ago before winning the Global Innovation Through Science and Technology Awards. Let's see if we can have those pictures brought up.
There are a lot of hard moments when you realize you don't want this anymore. You want to quit. You want to just go back, turn off the door, get a job 9 to 5, and just have absolutely nothing to worry about after 5 p.m. But unless you have the perseverance and hard work and willing and ambition to go all the way until the end, you can't make it big.
I was struggling a lot, and I was about to close it many times because I was struggling with the business thing. I'm an engineer, I'm not a businesswoman, and I have struggled a lot. And until I have applied to JUST. Everyone has a turning point in his life, and in my business life, JUST is my turning point.
You're always more powerful based on the people you have around you.
Be clever while you trust people. I have lost many clients because of blind trust. I have been cheated many times because of a blind trust. So my advice and my challenge here is that be trustful but clever one.
You don't, and I'm speaking to an entrepreneur, you don't get value from yourself if you don't put value in yourself. I think you all know the 10,000-hour rule. You have to put in the time.
An idea is worth absolutely nothing. You can't put a dollar mark on an idea. You need to persevere and put a lot of sweat behind it until it turns into reality.
All right, we'll go into another story in just a few moments, but very quickly, the three of you, what did you struggle with before your ideas took off? Let's start with you, Judith.
I resonate very well with the lady who said she was an engineer, she wasn't a business person. And that was the state of our team. Like, we were all techies who had decided to form this organization. We just knew how to program. So now we had to, for us, our main challenge was now running an organization. The business of running an organization is different from, okay, there's this thing they say that, anyways, the business is different. Like running the business, like how you think is different. For us, how we deal with funders was different. How we deal with the people who came for our events was different. Proposal writing. So we're used to writing code, and now we have to like write description.
I like the way everyone is relating to you. But then did you get people on board to do that, or did you learn it yourself?
We learned it.
Oh,
you learned it on the job. We learned, one of the things we got burnt with was our accounts. Like, if you need specialized people, like some things you just need people who are educated in accounts.
And not
there's specialized skills, accounting, legal, tax. Get somebody who knows what they're doing.
So my two takeaways were never go wrong on accounts and legal because they cost you so much. Like cheap is so expensive.
Right. Okay. So you got your fingers burned, but you eventually learned. Very quickly from the two of you, what were some of the times that you had your fingers burned seriously?
I think us was on more of labor that we chose to employ. We focused so much on making it so cheap that we compromised on quality, and it really costed us a lot because we had to go back and redo most of the structures that we already built. And I think from this point we do not compromise on that.
Right. It has to be. It has to be. Okay. The same thing. Edwin, and that's something that a lot of people make mistakes about. So you've just talked about you know, legal and accounts. So what are the key things that someone who wants to get into a startup should keep in mind so they don't have their fingers burned?
Yeah, so say financial management will always be critical. You need to know your numbers, where your income comes from, what you spend. If you're making a profit, don't compromise on that. Legal, absolutely, and tax management, that's also just as important. I would also say good advice, like good people who actually know the market and can help you figure out how you scale your business quickly. You can't do that stuff, out of the back of your
Some people might argue that's going to cost me money to employ these people, and I don't have that money.
But as she says, sometimes cheap is expensive, right? And doing some of those issues, I mean, KRA, for example, if you're on the wrong side of KRA, fixing that will cost you a lot more time and effort and money than just getting it right from day one.
Okay, we'll go into another story and then probably talk about access to funding because, someone out there may say, I can't really afford to have an organization like that. So, interestingly, an Idea One Esther Mojisola from Nigeria, about 2 million shillings during the just concluded GES. Sylvia Chebet spoke to her after the Global Innovation Through Science and Technology Awards Gala alongside another young Kenyan who we have in studio with us, Taita Ngetich, alongside Brian Bett, who was also awarded 1.5 million shillings for the second best startup in the world. Let's take a look.
Don't I wish I were in your shoes now? Mojisola Ojebode.
It was the third time 28-year-old Mojisola Esther Ojebode was being called to the stage to receive the prestigious Global Innovation Through Science and Technology Award that is accompanied by an equally lucrative cash award.
I'm glad she's not wearing high heels, you know, let them fit in them, basically.
In all, Esther takes home nearly 2 million shillings.
I feel like I've just been given the opportunity to bring the best out of what I do and to assist rural women and farmers, especially those people who grow cowpeas, so that they can minimize their loss.
Esther's full member team is developing an environmentally and health-friendly product they call Bioxin to deal with the cowpea weevil, which causes massive losses during grain storage.
And that's what I won the award for, based on the idea.
We now move to the stage after the idea stage, you know, basically. And that is the startup, the second place. It's Taita Ngetich from Kenya. Company Aluminium Greenhouse. Aluminium greenhouses seek to create limitless integrated modern greenhouse with sensors, the monitor temperature, humidity, soil moisture, and most importantly, the water supply.
The result of this is that farmers can now be able to focus on other income-generating activities and by a simple SMS get to know what's happening in their farms.
The brainchild of 22-year-old fourth-year mechanical engineering student at the University of Nairobi, whose team member is a classmate.
It's overwhelming. That was the first thing I felt when my name was called up on stage. But it's also humbling that from 792 applications from all over the world, our startup was considered as the second best startup in the world. And it not only talks about our startup, but it also gives a representation of Kenyan innovation, that it can compete on a global platform.
This was clearly very competitive, but you managed to stand out among the rest. How did you do it? What did you say during your pitch? How did you say it?
I think the first thing we did is to focus on the problem, create the problem. I think I spent a lot of time, even in my pitch, trying to engage the judges in actually understanding the problem that Kenya has in over-reliance of rain-fed agriculture. And from that problem is now providing a solution, which we provided drip irrigation kits, automated drip irrigation kits. And what makes it different from any other drip irrigation kits is that we just didn't provide an ordinary product or a copy-me product. We provided a product with a value addition of sensors. I think that gave us a better competitive edge.
A lot of people have these brilliant ideas, but they just remain stuck in their head. What do you advise them?
For those ones, I'm a big example, because I had an idea and I developed the idea because I was working with local farmers, and then I discovered that they were always planting lemongrass around their homes. So I asked the question, why are you people planting this plant? And they said it scares away reptiles. So I thought in my head, wow, if this scares away reptiles, then it can kill smaller insects. And because it's medicinal, why can't we just try it? And you know, for those people who have the idea, I advise them to just launch it out, do it, and get people to know about it. It could just be the brick.
Always embrace failure. Failure doesn't mean your idea doesn't work. It simply means you need to innovate it. You need to change the approach that you're giving to it.
The best startup worldwide this year was awarded to Carlos Bernal from Mexico.
The company is Aido Innova with Glucose Alarm. Glucose Alarm is a diabetic urine glucose sensor that is placed inside the toilet bowl and sends information to the patient's smartphone, physician or insurance company. So you don't have to prick your finger anymore. Feel the pain.
And the best idea went to Rudy Cook from South Africa.
And the company is Water Brothers. And Water Bros seeks to remodel water distribution by putting high-tech water purification within reach of the local community using reverse osmosis technology.
The top winners will be smiling all the way to the bank, where they can cash in their 2.5 million shilling cash reward for their innovations. Sylvia Chebet for Monday Special.
Okay, so you're saying that she shouldn't give out how much money you've made? Too late. Are the phone calls coming in?
Well, we'll have to check that.
Phone calls from family and friends congratulating you. Those ones definitely
Good save, Edwin. Exactly. Good save. Very quickly, because we need to go through so many questions that people are asking all three of you. Someone here called Joe is saying, I want to start a youth employment program based on sports, but I'm really frustrated because of lack of capital. So again, the capital question comes in quite often. I know that the three of you have talked about the fact that you walked that journey and were eventually to get funders. Is that how it happens all around? This guy is probably sitting home. He just has a concept on paper. In his mind, the vision is so huge, but he doesn't know where to start money-wise. Where does someone like that start?
Every startup starts with what's called bootstrapping. So just to get stuff done with what you have, right? So your family, your friends, savings, whatever you have, your idea, just start something, even if it's small. Just starts, right? There's nothing like positive momentum of actually doing something that then begins to attract other resources to you, right? People usually think of money as loans, right? Loans are expensive, and it's difficult for a startup with no income to convince banks to give them money to do anything, right? And in addition to that, you borrow money, you have to pay interest on it. So where do you get your equity capital? The first level is just very basic: yourself, your time, your family, your friends. Get something done.
Okay.
If you have a good concept with your three friends and you want to do, sports, do it in your village, do it in your locality, just get started.
Okay.
And then you'll be surprised the kind of new money that could potentially follow you.
Okay.
Could I
yes, sure.
Also just think of like the smallest model, like you have the big picture, maybe you're thinking of having this big building where people walk in, but what is the smallest thing? Can you operate it from your house with phone calls, walking to, just slash down
and then build on it.
Exactly.
Okay,
if there's another way of getting capital, which even the GIST competition has, it has an idea phase. So anyone with a very brilliant idea, if you can phrase it in a very good proposal, then you can pitch it. There's a lot of grants that go into just ideas. And I'd give Kenyans, there's a Facebook page, Opportunities for Africans. It has every day new grants and proposals where people can submit just ideas and get funding.
And then someone else is saying sometimes it's even you're frustrated because you're in employment, for example. Where do you begin to get the ideas to go into business? How do I even begin to think, what can I do to go into this startup? I don't know if I'm making sense. You don't really have a particular direction, but you're thinking, I need an idea. Where is it going to come from? What do you have to say to that?
I think you could start with what you love doing. There's that thing every single person has inside in them, that you do it with enough ease, with no pressure at all. That's the best starting point. Secondly, family is crucial. Family holds your hand at the lowest moments and at the highest moments too. So with family and passion, you will get somewhere. And keep your friends close.
I would add, if you don't have an idea, start with a known, right? Start with what you know, and be clear what's the problem you're trying to solve. You'll never be able to build a business unless you're solving a problem somewhere. So look within your life and say, what problems do I experience, my family, my friends, my neighborhood experience, and what's the business that can solve that problem, and then figure out where the money comes from there. Right?
And then someone else was asking, how do I get access to the people who have set aside money for financial startups? Again, is it just aggressively seeking these people out? I think you mentioned that.
So it depends on the money you're looking for. The concept ideas, fantastic. That's nice, cheap, easy money. As long as you have a good idea, that's one place. Raise money from your friends, family, and other people who believe in you and the idea. And then finally, the big announcements that were made were primarily by banks, Equity, Chase, and others on the SME financing. They are aggressively going to start looking at how do they finance young entrepreneurs who have very little collateral, have very little track record, but a significant promise, right? And so as that's coming together, engage with them early and understand, if I'm going to get a loan from a bank, what does it take? And then finally, you have the various government funds that exist, the Youth Fund, the WESO Fund, the Women's Fund. Actually seeking information on what it takes to get access to that money, and then go after it.
All right.
Resources are there. Money is there.
Money is there. It's just about going after it. So even if you're outside Nairobi, which I know a lot of people are also saying, I'm so far away, I don't have access, it's just about going online and just getting that information. I think that's what I've really picked up from you guys.
And also not being in your own cocoon. One of the greatest resources I found is other entrepreneurs. Talk to them and they'll tell you, they'll tell you they heard of this, they heard of that. Go to places where there are many entrepreneurs. Sometimes there are like hubs you can go to. Sometimes there are meetings you can go to, or you could go to online networks. and that's where people share a lot of information.
Okay. Right. We have a bit of feedback on Twitter before we come back to the discussion. Let's see what, if it's questions or feedback. Washira Kelvin Kamar says, how can a prospective entrepreneur access capital even if they don't have a functioning company? I think we've addressed that just a few moments ago.
It's easy to get a functioning company
too. Okay.
Yeah,
okay, yeah. Youth are not patient. We want quick money and immediate returns, which may not come at the start of a business.
That is true.
Yeah.
You got to work for it.
You have to work for it. No microwave solutions.
Exactly.
Undeniably, the spirit of entrepreneurship is within the Kenyan young generation. The challenge is how to get started, which I believe we've also talked about. We can take note and then try and, most young entrepreneurs face the challenge accessing startup capital. Again, that'll come up pretty often. Lack of capital is a major setback. Complicated processes to access loans from the banks as well. Did you have any of those challenges before Edwin comments? Did any of you?
I think the banks do it complicated so that they can weed out the guys that give up easily.
Okay.
You know, if you want money, you need to struggle for it. And I spoke to an investor in the GES, and they say the application process is 12 days just to singly weed out the guys that give up. And if you go through that 12 days of application, then it seems you really want capital. So access to capital needs you to be resilient. And then, as I've said, also we have the Opportunities for Africans Facebook page that has all these grants for just ideas.
Okay, you wanted to say something. I
was going to say actually, on the getting started, I can't emphasize this more, right? One of the big taglines that we had in the session I was moderating was think big. Right, so think about the world and the world you want to conquer. Start small, right? To Judith's point earlier, what's the smallest unit that you can run your model, and just start now, right? Every idea has a shelf life. You're not the only person who's thinking about these things, and just as importantly, get over the fear of getting started and recognize your most important thing is actually execution, not the idea. An idea that's not been executed is not useful. Right? And so how do you get to execution faster? And that's where you'll really learn if this idea is worthwhile once you get to the market and start testing and selling your good or your service or your product. That's the most important leap to make. So one of the things that then we also talked about is think of entrepreneurship as an experiment, right? It's not that you fail. Every experiment that you try, you don't get the results that you're looking for. You learn from that, and then you move on to the next one. If you go in with that mindset of this is an experiment, I quote-unquote fail, just means no, I got a negative result, and so then I'll try something a bit different until you get a positive result. Right? So think of this as the experiment in your journey to build a big business, and you just need to learn and start experimenting sooner than later.
Okay. You wanted to mention something?
Yes, from my Lumnon story, I think we have learned two concepts. The first is never an instant solution for any problem. Secondly, you will, as long as you package your solution appropriately and your product is good enough, there is always a client who will have faith in you. And I believe there's an angel of business. You'll have a client who has never heard of your job, who will look you up through OLX, call you, I want a greenhouse. You will start from the basic.
Okay. A lot of people want to get in touch with all of you. Warning, maybe don't give out your mobile phone number, but I know we're going to take another break. I'm hoping by the time we come back we can scroll some of your information, if there are websites or that kind of thing. Maybe I'll try and get those in between the break. So, and someone actually saying I want to join Akira Chicks. So I don't know whether in your organizations you're getting people to come on board, or whether for now you're just trying to build on what you have.
For us, we're working to get more people on board. We're looking for partners. We're very open to working with other people because we realize that where we've gotten, we didn't get it. We didn't get here on our own, and we have a strength in working with other people. So we have a very strong volunteer and mentor network, especially when we're doing our events. So we're very open.
All right, we'll try and get your information. We'll take another short break, and when we come back, hopefully we can scroll some of that information on the screens. We'll be right back after this.